again, back at the Nieuport build to Northcoates. The beauty of building an aeroplane is you forever putting it together and taking it apart and putting it together and taking it apart. Guess what I've been doing today? Yes, I've been taking it apart. So after seeing it all together, it's now in bits again. I'll spin this around in a minute and show you. Been pottering around. I didn't like that gun mount, the Lewis gun mount that I showed. So I've rethought that, put stronger supports on it. Still going to put a couple more supports on, I think. I don't think it's quite, it needs some more support, I think. Because it's an addition to the kit, I want it solid and still as light as possible. So I think I've had a rethink on the supports and made better ones. And I'll show you what I've done with that as well, the brackets. I've made some different brackets. So I'll show you that and show you it back in bits again. So there we are, all back in pieces again. Fuselage, as you can see, I've sprayed that that top bracket there, and maybe I'll get that wooden coating done on there, the wood effect coating, but I'm not sure on that. If I'm going to be messing about with this fuel tank, I don't want to be scratching anything. Main upper wings on the wall there, two lower wings on the supports on the sawhorses, and the other wing on the bench here. You know, I said in the previous video I'd accidentally cut out a piece that I didn't need cutting out. As you can see, I'm working on filling that in. Once it's been smoothed off, that won't even be noticeable there. So that will come out all right. The other bit is obviously this bell crank. You can see I've made some marks where it should be, and I have decided that I'm going to move it. What's right is right, and yeah. So we'll do that once this. My good old JB Weld. God, I love JB Weld. I'm gonna have to get some more. Won't be able to cope otherwise. And once that's dried, I'll come in tomorrow. As you can see, I've got the heaters on it because it's so really cold in here. And once I come in tomorrow, I shall start on this moving this bell crank. Shouldn't be too big a job, and I've made a couple of little brackets that you can maybe see there. That's made those to make up for my error, and that's it for today. Just a lot of pottering about, not a whole lot to show for it, other than it's back in bits. So here we go. Just put it together and take it apart another 10 times, and we might have an aeroplane. Paul at Grasstrip Aviation has been in touch about the tank. I've shown him some more, sent him some more photographs, and he's been emailed those across to Robert in America and in Holden, and hopefully we'll get a response to that. I'm just hoping it is the wrong tank, because I don't see any other solution, because it just don't fit, and all the dimensions of everything else are right. Still may have to change this seat, but I won't know till we get this tank in place. That's it. I'll be back with more updates soon. Today I've been sorting out that the ailerons. I thought it would take a couple of hours. It's taken more like 6 hours to get altogether, get them both done. But I've got those both done. Got the all the wings tidied up where I'd cut bits out to make them fit and stuff for the cables, so they're all tidied up. Just needs cleaning up properly for covering is the next thing with the wings, but that's not yet. I've got to do the fuselage and the firewall forward, fit the engine, all that sort of stuff before I even think about covering, I think. By which time it'll be freezing cold in here, so hence hopefully my gazebos that I've got will solve the heating problem. If I can keep some heat in those, maybe put some polythene sheets over the top as well to insulate them a bit, but we'll see when we get to that. Ailerons, I've found the incidents, they both need to move a minimum of 30 degrees up and down. Now, I've been talking to Paul, who's one of the viewers, who's been a huge help. He's the guy who came up with some of those ideas for the colour scheme, which I still really like. And we've been having a bit of chat via email and stuff, and he's come up with some really helpful ideas and thoughts on the aileron deflection and trying to avoid adverse yaw and that sort of thing. There's very little in the book about it. Literally, it just says a minimum of 30 degrees up and down elevator. So with that in mind, I've moved the fulcrum points on the elevator bell cranks, on those big aluminium bell cranks on the top of the wing. So I've moved the fulcrum point a bit on that, which I'll show you in a minute. When I built the Sonex, I built it with Lee, my mate, who we fly together. He's a cracking guy. We've always got on really well. And we built the Sonex, and it was a team effort. It was great fun. We laughed more than anything. It was good fun. But it was also a second pair of eyes to keep me in line and stop making me make some of my cock-ups that I go rushing straight into. And I haven't got that, so it's really helpful when Paul emails me with a few ideas and thoughts on things. So it really is much appreciated. So any help any of you guys have got out there, any ideas, always willing to listen. I'm not too proud, definitely not, to put thoughts into ideas and stuff. So yeah, please make comments below the videos. Any ideas you might have, please, you're welcome to comment on it. In fact, when we built the Sonex, while I think about it, I actually did an article for the Light Aircraft magazine, which we called The Chuckle Brothers Build the Sonex, because it was just fun. We laughed a lot. We also cried on occasions when things went wrong, but it was a great experience. And although I'm enjoying my own company, I do sort of miss a bit of the company in the workshop at times. And as I say, that second pair of eyes is indispensable, really, at times. So, you know, please make comments, much appreciated. And I'll turn this around and just show you what I've done for today. Well, those bell cranks. As you can see, I've put a second fulcrum point in. That's the inner one there. Obviously, it takes less movement of the push rod to move it nearer the fulcrum point. So I can't get anything any nearer than that, so those are sort of the two extremes I've got to work with. Hopefully they should give me 30 degrees. I don't think I was far off before, to be honest. Whether I can adjust them to make some differential aileron movement, I don't know with this system. Maybe I'll just have to live with adverse yaw and use the rudder. I fly tail wheel all the time, so I'm quite used to rudder, and I think with this one being an all-flying rudder and no vertical stabilizer, it should be pretty effective for that. Hence I wanted to make the slip ball the main instrument. Also, I've tidied up some of these gaps in the wing skins here for the cables to go through, and the supports, those vertical supports up there. So those have all been tidied up. I've got a little bit of, I had a bit of the good old JB weld, so I just tidied that up a bit to make a smoother transition there. And I'm starting to think about the covering and the other wing, just the same here. I've done the same, and we've got the, sorry, the light is not good, but as you can see, I've put the extra fulcrum point in there. And done the same on here, tidied it all up. So that's pretty much ready to go, really, those wings now for covering, obviously. Same with these two, I've been over those. And before I actually cover them, I will go over them as best I can and make sure we get a nice smooth surface for covering. But that, as I say, is later on in the day. Another cold, miserable, damp day in Lincolnshire. So back in the freezing cold workshop and working on the Nieuport, as you know. A couple of bits of news really. First bit is the fuel tank, which is obviously seriously too big. Apparently they increased the size of the fuel tank to give better range, particularly for the American market, but it doesn't really work, as you've seen from the video before, without cutting down the foot pedals, without moving the foot pedals, and still it's not going to be a comfortable place for me. So I've spoken to Paul at Grasstrip Aviation, and the plan is he's got a kit, he's got Nieuport kit as well. He's not started yet, but he's also got the same tank. So what he's going to do, he's going to get that tank cut down at metal fabricators, re-welded about half the size, which obviously will affect the range of the aeroplane, but it's only a summer evening bimble around aeroplane anyway, really. So that's the plan. He's going to get his cut down. I shall swap it for mine that I've got here, and we shall then he shall then get that one cut down for him at a later date. So that's the plan with the fuel tank. It's going to take a little bit of time, especially with the Christmas period coming up. So that's a bit of a bind, but you know, it is what it is, as we've been saying. So we'll roll with it. Next job. Oh, the other thing, just to ease my conscience as well, was I was checking the plans for those Aileron Bell Cranks and the positions and everything, thinking, well, how could I get it wrong? Well, I didn't. I actually did it to the plans. I just think the plans are slightly wrong. So I'll just give you a quick view of those and show you what I did. And it was absolutely right. Measurements were spot on. Just they weren't the right measurements, I guess. That's it for those two bits. Today, I guess I'm going to work on the step for getting in and out of the cockpit. I did mention when I sat in it the other day, I need to work out how to do it. So I might have to put the wings back on as well, because I need to check. I moved those Aileron Bell Cranks, I think I've videoed that, but I need to check the lengths of those push rods now as well, just to make sure everything's right. And if I'm going to do that, I might as well put both lots of wings back on if I've got a bit of help at the club here. And I shall work on the positioning the step and how easy it is to get in and out of the cockpit, and may even consider starting the Turtledeck. Not sure about that, we'll see. Okay, so these are the plans I was working from. And you can see here, if I can get my finger to it. Okay, so here is this is the Aileron Bell Crank, this one here, and just inside it is the hinge, which is positioned, as you can see, 12 and 15/16 inches, or nearly 13 inches, from the end of the spar there. Obviously they come back. That's exactly where it was, but this is the cross piece here, that is where the wing is held up on the front strut. So obviously, to keep it in line, that's where the bell crank should be, where that hinge is marked. So, which is where I built it. I built it exactly to the plans. The measurements were exact. So I think that mark there the bell crank should be in that position, and the hinge should be slightly inboard of that. So it wasn't entirely my stupidity. I'd built it exactly as the plans were said. I just think there's a slight error in the plans there, and that should be the position of the bell crank, not of the hinge. So just to ease my conscience and prove that I'm not a total moron. Oh look, the wings are back on. Just for a change, they've been on and off again. So I put the wings on just to check how I'd changed. They're not on properly, they're just basically pushed into place. But I wanted to check those aileron push rods, and they are now much more vertical. As you can see, they're not, as I say, the wings are not exactly straight, so but the push rods are much more vertical now where they should be. So that's good news. I'm going to have to set these off again. What I have done is I've made a step there. I'm hoping it's not too near the wing. that's why I've lifted it up. So I've once I've stepped on it, I've stepped over the wing. I could have moved it out here. A lot of guys have had them here, but I think I'd be better putting it, you know, they're moving to this sort of position here. But because I've lifted it up, I've lifted it over the wing. I just thought it would be easier getting in and out with that there, and it's a decent bit of tube. It's nice and solid. It's all fixed to the fixings that I've got. Just made a few more brackets and put a decent step in there. And lifting it up means I've got more room to get over the Turtledeck as well. So that's that be done. Pleased with that. The push rods haven't needed anything other than a bit of fine adjustment, and as you can see, I've moved them into the different position there, so it should give me a little bit more aileron control. Again, we shall check that when it's properly rigged up again, as it's going to be before too long, no doubt. So that's it. Next job, can't do the fuel tank obviously till I get that, so I'm guessing it might be worth me trying the Turtledeck. I think would probably be worth a go. If I do have to change this seat with the fuel tank, I'm thinking I can just make the back more vertical and use the same attachment points, so that shouldn't be a problem. Those bolts there, those bolts at the bottom there, I can just move that all back a little bit, give it a much more vertical seat, moves me bum back, my legs can straighten out more. That's the thinking with that one. So I'll take these wings off. I'll get the guys to help me because it is now becoming a major operation to put the wings on and off in this place. So I'll get some help and we shall take it apart again. Been working on the Turtledeck today. It's coming on. I'm going to call it a day now, though. I still can't finish the formers because I still haven't received my crimping pliers or the fluting pliers. I ordered both, neither of which have arrived yet. I guess Christmas is getting in the way of the deliveries and stuff. So I'll show you what I've done. Hopefully you'll have seen a bit of time lapse that might be usable. I'll show that if it works. If not, you'll just have to look at the end results here. I'll turn it around now. So there we go, started the Turtledeck, made those formers, the two rear ones, and the rear part there where it fixes onto the tail, or it butts through the tail. Then I've just got to cut them to length here, slot them down in there. What I have done is I've also cut that out a piece of wood, because I figure getting in and out of the aeroplane I'm going to be putting a lot of weight on here, and it is just thin alloy, so I figure if I put that, if I can show it, that will go in there and it'll give it something substantial to push on, to give some weight onto. Obviously it's these bits that there's going to be a flange bit, kind of the 90-degree bit that I was trying to bend, that I can't bend without fluting pliers, so that's got to be done. Next, I've also sort of scalloped these a bit. I mean, I know it's only tiny bits of weight, but I'm still thinking of that weight thing, and just scalloped those out of the way a bit and take some weight off, make them look neat. And so that's what today's work has been. Got that done. Just so I can't do anything really till I get the fluting pliers to put this this angle over the top, and that's going to be the next job. But again, I've got to wait another few days before they come. So that's it for today. Maybe in tomorrow. We'll see how it goes, and I shall keep you informed.